All right. Thanks to everybody who can join today. As you have heard, we are recording this. There will be follow-up messages, but we are hoping to complete our open enrollment here by the end of Monday. So we want to next Monday have everything done. We have our brokers here with One Digital, and they will be jumping in to share varying things with Naomi and Jessica, sharing stuff on our medical and standard benefits. And then Nate will come in to talk a bit about 401k. We do have a few changes. Most things look the same. Some of the big items, medical, dental, vision, all are the same. But we have decided to switch carriers from Navia, which were the ones that handled our FSA account and dependent care and transit and so on, to Accrue. And we will also have made a few minor changes as it relates to our short-term disability benefit. Those they will talk a little bit more about, but essentially it kind of goes down to how it plays out with varying state benefits. State leave benefits, I should specify. So those are the things to watch out for. There will be time for questions. If we don't get to your questions after during this meeting, there'll be time after. And all of them, I think, are available if down the road, either tomorrow or a month, 2 months from now, need to talk about something more specific, or you have something that you have questions about, myself, Joelle, and then Naomi, Jessica, and Nate will also be available. So just let us know and we will get started.
Perfect. Thanks, Lucy. Thanks everybody for joining us via Zoom today for the annual open enrollment meeting. This is the time of year that we get to come out and talk to you about your benefits. This time we're doing it virtually, which isn't a new format for us with Landesa. So that's the good news. Naomi, do you want to advance the slide, please? So I get to talk about the easy part, which is the fact that most of your benefits aren't changing. Naomi, can you switch the slide?
I'm trying, sorry.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry, I threw her off a little bit. We're showing the other view, not the.
Is that better?
Yeah.
No, we're still on the intro slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay, why is that not? I'm seeing it's changing.
Do you have the shared slide up?
Yeah, try to stop sharing and reshare that screen maybe.
Okay, sorry, technical difficulties, everybody.
That's all right.
I don't want to say I'm new, but I'm new.
So I will take just a second to thank Joelle and Lucy. They put a lot of effort behind your renewal each year. This year was no exception. We did have an increase in benefits on medical and dental from a price standpoint. And so it was some negotiation with your current provider, with Primera, and then a lot of discussion with the leadership team. But ultimately, your benefits are staying the same starting July 1. That's the time of year that your benefits renew. The medical, dental, and vision plans will all remain with Primera Blue Cross. And we'll go into a little bit more detail just as a refresher on those plans, but that's the good news. Life and voluntary life insurance is going to stay with the standard, as will your voluntary disability plans. There is a change to the short-term disability. Naomi will talk about a little bit later. Your long-term care plan is staying with Unum. The employee assistance program is continuing through the standard as well. And we'll spend some time talking about that. I think this is an important year to just remind you of your employee assistance program. And then the big change this year is that the flexible spending account is moving to Accrue, and Naomi will go through the details on that. Okay, so this is your annual open enrollment. This is the time of year that you can add a dependent to the plan or drop a dependent from the plan without a qualifying event. The rest of the year, you can make enrollment changes when there's qualifying life events. So if you get married, if you have a baby or adopt, or if you have a dependent who loses coverage. Say you have a child who is working and they're getting coverage through their current employer, and then they lose that coverage, switch jobs. That is a qualifying event to come back on the Landesa plan. So those are all qualifying events that either Lucy or Naomi can help guide you through those time periods. Okay. So you do have a couple of medical plans to choose from. This is always a good opportunity for you to evaluate, how do I use the plan? Kind of reflect back on the last 12 months and say, do I go to the chiropractor a lot? Do I have an upcoming surgery that might change the decision on which plan I'm enrolled in? Do I not go to the doctor all that often, and maybe I'm on the plan that costs a little bit more and I don't need to be? So those are all things to think about as you're looking at the different plans. Okay, and you do have two plans to choose from. They're both with Premera Blue Cross. They're both on the strongest, most comprehensive network that Premera offers. So your availability to see providers is going to be the same on both plans. The plan that that most people are on right now is the base plan. It has a deductible of $1,000. So when you have a surgery, the first $1,000 is what you're responsible for. After that first $1,000 has been met, then Premera is going to come in and pay 80% of the costs, and you're going to pay 20% of the costs, up to a total of $5,000 per year. And at that point, if you meet the annual out-of-pocket maximum of $5,000 per year, Premera is going to pay everything else in full for the remainder of the calendar year. Now, that's an important distinction. So we have your renewal July 1st, but your benefits actually run on a calendar year. So some of you may have already met part of your deductible in 2020. That won't change. Anything that you've met so far in 2020 will continue through the end of the year. So just remember, the benefits run on a calendar year. Under this base plan, your office visits are a $30 copay. So anytime you go in for anything that isn't like a regular checkup, say you have a sinus infection, that would be a time when you would go into an office visit with a $30 copay. Preventive care is going to be covered in full on both of these plans. So that's important to know, that if you go in for your annual exam, you go in for your mammogram, you bring your child in for their well child visit, those are all going to be covered at no cost to you. So really important to get in for those well checkups and the preventive care. This base plan has a pharmacy benefit of $15 for generics, $30 for preferred brand name medication, $50 for specialty medication, and then non-preferred is a 30% cost share. There won't be a medication in the non-preferred category that there's not an alternative to in either the preferred brand name category, the $30 category, or the generic category, that $15 category. So if you get a new prescription and it's more expensive than $30, you might want to ask the pharmacy if there's an alternative that you can try that might be less expensive. So that's a good reminder to just ask questions at the pharmacy. Both plans cover vision exam at a $25 copay once per year. And that's in addition to your VSP. Oh no, I'm sorry. that's your vision plan. And then you do have vision hardware that is covered in full up to $150 every 2 years. The buy-up plan has a couple of differences to it. The deductible's a little bit lower. It's a $750 deductible. And your copays for office visits are going to be less expensive at a $25 copay. Pharmacy benefit stays the same, your annual out-of-pocket maximum stays the same, and the vision coverage is the same. So when you're looking at getting treatment, especially in time of COVID, we're really seeing the teledoc services becoming more and more utilized. This is a way that you can get care without actually going into a provider's office or a clinic. You can log on to the Teladoc app, or you can go to the Premera app and access Teladoc through the Premera app. You have access to a provider 24/7. The most you will pay is a $30 copay. And you can get prescriptions through Teladoc service. So say that same scenario where you have a sinus infection and it's a Friday and you don't have time or the availability to make an appointment with your provider, you know what's coming. You can log on and access care through Teladoc and just pay a $30 copay. Naomi and I will both, through personal experience, encourage you to register with Teladoc now before you need it. When you need it, you could be in pain, you could be in a situation where you just need to talk to someone right away. And there's a little bit of information that needs to be entered into the Teladoc program for you to be able to access care. So typically what they need is your Premera ID number, your name and some basic information. And then they're also going to ask for a debit card for that copay. So they can store that in there. And then they also ask for your pharmacy information. So if you see a local Bartell's down the road, you can enter in that address and that phone number. And then if they need to call in a prescription, it's already stored in there. But Teladoc has seen a surge in care while people aren't going into their normal doctor's office, and they're doing a great job filling a big need for folks. If you haven't downloaded the Premera mobile app, I would encourage you to take a few minutes today to do that. This is going to store a lot of your information, including your ID card. So if you're like me and you have a teenage child and you want to make sure that they have access to the Premera information, you can have them download the Premera app and their ID card is always with them. Pretty much everyone carries their phone with them all the time now, and so this is a way to make sure you have your Premera card with you at all times. They also will store your information, like where you're at with your deductible in the year if you're curious about that. And then you also have access to the Teladoc. A question just came through, can I use Teladoc to talk to my primary care provider? The answer to that is no. Teladoc is a separate service. You would be speaking to a licensed physician, but it would not link to your specific provider. Your specific provider may have online medicine available, telehealth available, and you can set that up through them, and they can bill Premera, and it should just be the $30 office visit copay. A lot of clinics do have virtual care available directly through their clinic, but it is a separate service than the Teladoc. Okay, Naomi, advance. So this slide is just a good reminder. Virtual visits are the lowest cost way to receive service, and they're also the most accessible. So these are going to be for things like maybe an asthma attack or pink eye, or I just need to talk to someone right away and see if I need to go in. It's going to be the shortest time commitment for you and the most convenient. And again, the most you would pay is a $30 copay. They can prescribe some medications, not all medications. So if you take a routine cholesterol medication, they're not able to refill that or prescribe that. But if you need an antibiotic or something like that, they can prescribe that. They can't prescribe pain medication. So that's something to be aware of. The next way to receive care is your primary care doctor. So if you have a primary care physician already established, you're going to want to see them before going into urgent care. Urgent care typically is going to be less expensive than going to the emergency room. Emergency room is the highest way that you can access, the least cost-effective way to receive care. We definitely want you to go to the emergency room if it's life-threatening, and there is a need for the emergency room truly. But if you can receive care either through urgent care or virtual visit or waiting for your primary care physician, that's strongly encouraged. Can you hear me? Your dental plan. So dental is staying with Premera Blue Cross. The way that the plan works, it's pretty straightforward. When you go in for your preventive care, there's going to be no cost share to you unless you are seeing a non-contracted provider, in which case Premera will pay the allowable amount for the billing codes, and then you might receive a small balance bill from your provider. Basic care is going to be covered at 20% after a $50 deductible, and major care is going to be covered at 50% after a $50 deductible. The plan works differently than medical. Medical, we said the most you would pay in a calendar year is $5,000, and then Premera is going to pay everything in full. The dental plan works the opposite way. Once Premera has paid $2,000 per member in that calendar year, they won't pay any more for dental services. So the rest would be your responsibility. And we always encourage you to get a predetermination of benefits from your dental provider before you continue with any services. So I've heard of 3 people in the last 2 weeks who have had crowns pop off and had to go into the dentist as a urgent thing. And some people have been able to glue those back on, and some are needing more extensive care. And those folks, I'm encouraging them, ask the dentist for the predetermination of benefits so that you know exactly what you owe when that service is done. You do have an orthodontia benefit. It covers up to $1,500 per lifetime for children under the age of 19. Naomi? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Naomi now.
Hi, everybody. So we also have a life insurance and AD&D benefit. This is employer paid plan. You get 1 times your annual earnings up to $215,000 maximum. You can, if you for some reason are leaving Landesa, you can convert this into an individual policy. And then as you age, the benefit does have a benefit reduction schedule. But this is really important benefit that is available for you, and it's at no cost to you. The employer pays this benefit for you. With the basic life, you also have the opportunity to buy up to voluntary term life and AD&D. It allows you to purchase more life insurance for you or your family members, your spouse or children. The employee benefit is you can purchase up to $300,000. The employee guaranteed issue is $100,000, and this benefit, the guaranteed issue is the max amount you can apply for without completing a health risk questionnaire form. If you can purchase more than that, but just know there is going to be a health form to complete if you do elect more. If you have waived this benefit in the past and you wish to purchase now, you will also need to complete an evidence of insurability form or a health form to apply for that benefit now. The employee AD&D amount is going to match your life benefit. The spouse benefit is going to be up to $150,000. The spouse guarantee issue is $25,000. The AD&D benefit is going to be up to 40% of the employee's benefit, and then will increase 50% of the benefit if no covered children at the time of the death. The children's life benefit is up to $10,000 for children 6 months to age 26. There's a $500 life benefit for children 14 days to 6 months. And then again, there's an AD&D benefit. It's up to 10% of the employee's benefit and will increase up to 50% of benefit if no covered spouse at the time of the death. There is an age reduction schedule as well with this benefit. If you are electing, like I mentioned, above the guaranteed issue amount, you will need to complete an evidence of insurability form, and there's one available through the EASE platform. And that's very important that if you do not complete that form, you will not get the benefit, or your benefit will remain the same as your previous election. So it's very important that you complete that form. There are disability benefits as well. There's short-term disability, and there's going to be a change.
Yeah, I mean, when you say it, it doesn't take long to say.
Can we have everyone mute, please?
Thank you. As Jessica mentioned before, there is a change to the short-term disability with the new state family paid leave that are coming into effect with Washington and the DC area. We've made a change to this benefit to include that if you're making more than $86,000, and those employees who reside outside of Washington state can apply, get this benefit. It is an employer paid benefit. And the disability is going to cover you short-term for any illnesses or injuries that you have, you can't work because of them. It's going to pay 60% of the first $4,167 of the pre-disability earnings to a maximum benefit of $2,500 per week. And again, this benefit is only for employees that make more than $86,000 and those employees who reside out of Washington state. So that would be the DC area, Maryland, and Virginia area. Long-term disability is available for everybody. This is a employer-sponsored plan again. And this benefit is going to cover your wages if after the short-term disability ends or the paid family leave benefits expire, and you are still going to be out on disability due to illness or injury. This benefit will kick in through standard, and it's going to be, there is a 90-day waiting period, and it's going to be 50% of your monthly earnings to a maximum benefit of $8,000 per month. If you do feel that you are going to need to go on a disability, whether it's short-term or long-term, please notify Lucy or Joelle so they know that that's coming, and they can help you get set up with the disability paperwork through standard. And we're going to go into Washington paid leave and the DC paid leave. These are through the states, Washington State and Washington, DC. These plans are not employer paid, and the employer does not do anything to help you set this up. You will need to reach out to your individual states if you have a disability that's coming into effect. Washington State, this went into effect January 1st of 2020. And after, there's a 7-day elimination period for disability, and you can receive up to 12 weeks of paid leave, 16 weeks if multiple events are experienced. There's a premium that's been taken to help pay for this through payroll deductions, And the benefit is calculated on a percentage of the employee's gross wage with a weekly benefit from $100 to $1,000. If you are going to be on, if you are also eligible for the disability through Standard, short-term disability, Standard will offset this amount and pay the remaining amount. So that works with this benefit as well. DC, this goes into effect on January 1st, or July 1st, sorry. And it pays, it's 100% employer funded. And again, it has a 7-day wait period from the date of disability. And you do get up to 8 weeks of paid leave in a 52-week period. The benefit will be 90% of wages up to 150% of the DC minimum wage for a 40-hour work week, and 50% of wages above 150 for the DC minimum wage. And both states will, based on your disability, will determine the amount of time that you get to take time off, how much leave you get. DC has different different lengths of periods that you can take off, which is why we added these DC employees and the Maryland and Virginia employees to the short-term disability, because that leave might not be as long as the Washington state leave. And we wanted to make sure that you still had coverage for those, for that time that you are off on disability.
Naomi, can I just jump in real quick here?
Oh, please.
I assume
yes.
that there are going to be quite a few people with questions regarding this. Well, there likely to be a few or so. So I'm just going to ask, I know this is very confusing. Any of you who are going out on leave and have questions about this, if you could just stay on at the very end, if we can get through the presentation, then you can get probably get your questions answered at that point. I just want to make sure we get through and kind of respect the time for everyone.
Yes, no, please stay on, and we'll also at the end too, there will be, if you have any questions throughout the year, I'm always available. My contact number is going to be at the end of this and also in the employee booklet. Lucy will be sending out later. And Lucy's available too, so you won't be left alone with these benefits. We're always here to help answer any questions you may have. But do please stay on after if you have further questions. Long-term care is going to continue with Unum. This is if you need to get in an accident, you need to go into some type of a care facility. This is going to help pay for that facility. This is an employer paid plan for the basic $2,000 per month for a maximum period of 3 years. Home and community-based healthcare maximum benefit is 50% of that facility benefit, and the benefits begin after a 90-day elimination period. There are additional options available if you wish to purchase more, but this benefit, the $2,000 90-day elimination, that is an employer-paid plan there. But you do have options to purchase more. You would need to talk to Lucy if that is what you would like to do.
Just want to butt in again, everyone. Somebody is in transit somewhere and is not muted. Please mute your phones.
Thank you. And the long-term care, it can be very expensive. So this is a really important benefit to have, and Landesa is very kind to be able to offer this benefit and have that available to you. So this just, we'll talk down here about how much cost, it would be if, for that, to have that care available. And if you didn't have, how much it would cost out of pocket. Flexible spending account, as Lucy mentioned, is moving to Accrue Solutions from Navia. It's going to mirror the same as you had before. There is going to be a minimum election amount, which is new to the plan. So there's a minimum of $500 that you need to elect in order to have this benefit. And the maximum is going to increase to $2,750 for your medical spending account. There's still going to be a $500 maximum rollover. Dependent care spending account is still going to remain at a $5,000 annual election amount per household. And with the dependent care, there is no rollover. Under the medical spending account, you can use those funds for medical, dental, vision, prescription drugs, medical supplies, and over-the-counter with a prescription. Right now, that has changed, and you can use some of those funds for over-the-counter medication without a prescription, and that's due to COVID. The dependent care account is for daycare expenses for children under the age of 13, as well as disabled spouse or dependents are eligible as well. And you can visit the portal to see what those expenses would be for you. Right now, we're asking if daycare or childcare is not available in your area to postpone enrolling in this benefit until that does become available. COVID I know there are areas that are slowly opening up, but we don't want you to be putting money into an account that you can't use those funds. So when you do get childcare available, we can open it up to have you enroll. It'll be a special enrollment or a life event because it is available. So just let us know when you want to be able to, when you want to start contributing to your daycare spending account. Also, with this change to accrue, Navia will continue to process any claims for the previous plan year for 90 days. So anything you need to submit for reimbursement, do it now. You have 90 days to submit for this current plan year. And then after that 90 days, the $500 rollover will move to accrue. So that accrue will handle the rollover amount. Navia will process any claims for 90 days after the effective date. The commuter plan is also moving to Navia. And we're increasing the maximum amount for transit and parking to $270. With this change, before with Navia, you used to log in to elect how much you wanted for your transit and parking. You will be doing these changes through the EASE system on a monthly basis. And we're asking that you still make your changes by the 20th of the current month for funds to be loaded for the following month. Any changes made after the first of the month will not be applied until the following month. So you will want to make sure that those changes are done in EASE. EASE is going to be talking to accrue and will be transmitting your changes on a weekly basis. So that's why we're having you go through EASE to make any commuter or transit changes. And if you have any questions about that, just let us know. It's basically you just log into EASE, and this transit commuter benefit will be available to make changes at any time. Just make sure that you make them by the 20th of the current month so that it's loaded for the following month. And Nate, I will pass it off to you.
All right. Thank you so much. So like Joelle said, and Naomi, we'll have questions at the end if you guys want to go into more detail about your specifics. And as with always, we're always here for you guys. If you have any questions, Naomi and I and Jessica are here throughout the year and really welcome you reaching out to us. So on the 401k side, we kept this simple to kind of keep things focused on the insurance, but 401k, not much is changing with regards to the plan overall. Contribution limits for this year, which we've talked about before, is $19,500. With catch-up for those that are age 50, can contribute an additional $6,500 for a total of $26,000 in 2020. So those are your contribution limits. The profit sharing from Landesa is a 3% contribution, and that's in addition to those contributions. Keep in mind that the payroll system automatically stops your contributions, and so you don't need to monitor that exactly to the T, because they'll kind of monitor that as well. I did just want to spend a few minutes just chatting about the economy right now, just because there's been so much changes that are going on. Obviously, we've all been impacted, and some more than others, definitely. So back in March, the CARES Act was passed. That does allow participants that were or have been impacted by COVID-19, so either themselves or their spouses, or if if their jobs were impacted, then you do have the eligibility or option to take a distribution from your 401k plan if that's needed, without having to pay a 10% federal penalty. Keep in mind that that's costly when you do that, because you are going to pay taxes and also be taking the money out of the market during that time. But that is an option available to you, and you're welcome to reach out to me if you have questions. If you currently have a loan outstanding, you can pause on those loan repayments if needed for up to a year. So again, if you need any help with that or have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. I've been holding one-on-one sessions with individuals, and if you have any financial concerns or questions about your investments or anything going on right now, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. At the end of this presentation is my contact information, and then also you can just email me as well, nate@itoifinancial.com, but we'll talk about it as well. But you're welcome to reach out to me. I miss being there with you guys during this open enrollment time. I know it's difficult, but again, please reach out if you have any questions during that time. You will be receiving communication from the standard, if you haven't done so already, that we are making one investment change to the plan. So as you may recall, we meet as an investment committee to review the investments in the plan to make sure we have a good core group of funds for you to choose from that are low cost, managed well, and performing well. We did come across one fund that we felt was underperforming, not just recently, but over the last 4 quarters, that we were concerned about and weren't really happy with the way the fund was being managed overall. That's the Parnassus Endeavor Fund. That, if you recall, that is a social responsible fund that we added a little while ago to the plan. That being said, we do have an alternative, the Vanguard FTSE or FTSE Social Index, which is in the exact same category. It has lower cost and performance has been stronger over time. So if there is any money or you have any money in that fund, the money will automatically transfer over to that Vanguard FTSE Index. We'll continue to monitor the situation and see if it's warranted to add any other funds to the plan. But at this time, we felt like that area was being filled. And for those people that did want to have that social responsible option there, we weren't taking away the option that you still have that Vanguard FTSE Index in there as that option there. So that will be happening. We don't have the exact date yet, I don't believe, from the standard, but that should be coming out shortly. So just keep an eye on that. And again, if you have any questions, you are welcome to reach out to me. So again, with regards to the investments, with regards to your finances, whether it involves your 401k plan or not, we're here as a resource and happy to chat with you. So I will hand it back to Naomi or Jessica.
Me, Naomi.
We didn't practice the handoff, sorry.
No, it's okay. With your LTD benefit, there's also an EAP plan that's embedded with that. EAP is a very underutilized benefit that is available. It's free of cost to you, available to you and your family. It allows you 3 face-to-face visit assessments and counseling per issue. It's 24-hour support online for you and your dependents, including children up to age 26. They do have a mobile app that you can use. An EAP is its employee assistance program. It helps you deal with, if you need to talk to someone, especially COVID right now, you're having a lot of anxiety, depression. Maybe you lost a family member and you need to talk to somebody. They will be able to put you in touch with somebody to help you through this time. If you're having any family relationship issues, they can help you get in touch with someone to help with that. If you just need to talk about life improvement and goal setting, they can help you get in touch with somebody. Financial, legal concerns, if you know someone that you need to help get with alcohol and drug abuse, identity theft, online will preparation, they are there to help you with any of those needs that you need. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. You can access it through the standards website, and they'll be able to get you in touch with someone to help you out through any needs that you may have. It's just an added benefit, free of charge for you. There is an online legal service as well that is available to you free of charge. It's through LawAssure. LawAssure will help you create a will, create a trust, making a power of attorney, prepare a healthcare directive, divorce paperwork if you need that, and also prepare a property lease if you are renting properties out. The contact information will be in the employee booklet, and I know there's some employees that have already utilized this benefit. So it is free of charge to you, and it's available if you have any legal questions that you may have. And that's the end of the presentation. Again, my name is Naomi, and I am your day-to-day contact here at One Digital. If you have any questions about benefits, claims, if you have questions about how something was paid, or you don't think it was paid correctly, please give me a call and I'll be able to look into that for you. If you can also contact Lucy or Joelle if you have any questions about your benefits. They will reach out to me too, or help me get in touch with me. And Nate is available for all your questions on 401k or any financial questions you may have regarding your 401k. I do want to let you guys know that you should be getting a notification later this afternoon about open enrollment through the EASE platform. We're going to have that open from June 8th to June 15th, and we're asking that all employees log on to EASE before the 15th to make your elections or make changes or waive coverage. We also ask that you're updating your email address to reflect your personal email and not your work email. So those are some things that we need you to do. If you aren't able to make your election changes by the 15th, please let us know so we can keep that open for you. But we really would like to have that completed by the 15th so that there's no delays in benefits, because we want to make sure we get all the elections over to the carriers in time so everything is set in place by the 1st of July. And with that, I think we are done. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
I'm gonna interrupt for just a minute before we get going on questions, but just wanted to reiterate that we will be sending out the booklet, which includes all this information. We can send out this PowerPoint presentation as well. And so you will have plenty of guidance and help along the way as you start your open enrollment. And I think maybe, is there like a raise hand function? I thought I saw that. Maybe.
Not sure if there is, Lucy, but
okay. Then maybe
this would be a good time if anyone doesn't have questions. You can go ahead and drop. And I sent a note out, by the way, guys. I'm still Joelle P. at Landesa.org, not Jay Pfeiffer. They have not changed it, so didn't catch that. My fault because I reviewed these slides. But go ahead and drop off if you don't have specific questions. Otherwise, stay on the line, particularly those that have questions about the changes. And thank you so much to the One Digital team. You guys have been phenomenal to work with. And thank you for helping us keep our benefits intact and affordable.
Our pleasure. It's always great working with you.
Gina, it looks like you have a question. Do you want to ask?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for the clarity of the information. This is a very, very specific question because I have like around $1,000 now in my Navia account for transport because we couldn't use it. We commute, like a lot of us commute, spent a lot on that. So what are we gonna do? Is that going to transfer to the new account or not?
So you had $1,000 in your commuter benefit?
Yes, I do. I just checked that.
Okay.
So
let me look into that and see if that's going to transfer over. I believe it will, but I want to make sure and get confirmation on that.
okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I should say, it will be great to get confirmation. I believe if it doesn't actually transfer over, I don't think it expires. I think you still can use it from where you have already.
Okay, thanks.
I had sent over everybody's current elections right now and how much they have in their accounts. I sent that all over to Accrue. So they should be, if there's a question or issue on their end, they would let me know. But I believe it's all gonna be there for you. But I will confirm that for you. Were there any other questions?
Yes, hi, this is Brandy. I have my hand up, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is.
Looking at hands. I have a couple of questions. If I understand correctly, the Accrue sort of getting in, making selections, changing your contribution, addressing claims, etc., all the things that we would do with Navia, the Navia website, if we had Navia before, that's now done on ease under the Accrue plan, or just at this initial enrollment phase?
Yeah, so any changes that you need to make for your transit or parking, you would do through ease. If you have any questions about your Accrue account, you would reach out to Accrue.
Yeah, the thing, Brandy, about it is the making monthly elections is kind of the distinction there. The other things like getting reimbursed and so on, as Naomi was saying, would be through the Accrue account.
Okay, so we will now not be using Navia anymore. We will get into Accrue, create a profile, and do all of the similar things we did in Navia in an Accrue website. So just the initial enrollment things are done in ease.
Yeah, your initial enrollment, and we're going to be sending all of your information over to Accrue. They're already going to be setting up your accounts. They're doing so right now. So there is nothing in Accrue's system that you should need to do. You shouldn't be making any changes in Accrue. We're setting up EDI feeds from Accrue, from ease, to be sending over that information. That's why if there's any changes you need to be made, you do that through ease. Because if you go into Accrue and make a change to an election, the ease feed, the feed that comes from, will erase that. So we just want to make sure that you're making any changes in ease's system. And if you have any questions about the amount or any reimbursements or to make any payments, you would go through Accrue to do that.
Okay, we'll receive debit cards through Accrue and things like that, like we currently have with Navia.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any change here with the transit and parking? Like, so in your slide, you have 270 monthly. Is that what it has always been, or is there something?
That's an increase. I believe it was 260 this past year, and that the 270 is the new federal maximum that you contribute.
And does Landesa offer any transit or parking, or does this come directly out of our pay?
We don't offer the parking. The DC staff had the transit subsidy, but I believe you're on the email, I think, or maybe, yeah. But sorry, it was just sent out, but we are not doing.
Sorry.
So we'll reevaluate the transit subsidy when our offices are open again.
Okay.
But now we're not.
I didn't receive that. If you could forward that to me, that would be great. And then, sorry, I have another question for Nate about the 401k. You were mentioning, Nate, that there is an option under the CARES Act to withdraw funds from your 401k. And I was just curious how long that option is open to people, if there's like a timeline, because a lot of those benefits like expire at some point. Or a lot of like anything COVID feels like it has like an expiration date on it. So I wasn't sure if this one did.
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know. I know the loan is within 12 months, and that the loan option needs to be taken by the end of the year. But it can be extended, or the loan repayment time can be extended for up to a year. I don't know. I would believe it would be through the end of the year for you to be able to take that distribution. But you would need to be able to prove that you were impacted by COVID. It's kind of it's a different process, where in the past, when people take a hardship or distribution from 401k plans, it's on the employer's responsibility to document and prove it. Because of how this was designed, it's an individual's designation and process to kind of to back it up that you were impacted. So if you have any issues or questions, again, just reach out to me. I'll help you work through it. We'll work with the standard to see if there's time and to be able to figure out that side of things. But again, it's kind of an individual tax situation as well, to make sure that you do qualify and that you can document it.
Okay, and then in the slide that you're now showing, the last sentence, Landesa has decided to make a profit sharing contribution. Is this a change, or is this the same 3% that went to that's the same?
It's the same.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then I'll stay on for the
Randy?
Yes.
It probably would have been better to say we decided not to cut it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think I didn't, in my head, didn't label it as a profit sharing, but so that phrase kind of also threw me off, but okay. Yeah. And so I will stay on for the, what is it called? The state leave benefit conversation at the end for my other questions. Thanks.
Let me explain that profit sharing thing just really quickly. You're absolutely right. It is the weirdest thing to have a profit sharing in a nonprofit, but it's the way the IRS designs 401k plans. Technically, a 401k plan is a profit sharing plan within the code of the IRS. So whenever it's an employer contribution that is given to everybody, as opposed to based on employees' contributions into the plan, it's classified as a profit sharing contribution. So year after year during these meetings, it's always been a confusing thing for me to say, but that's how it's documented.
Okay, thanks. Sorry I didn't catch it last year.
Sure.
Alex, did you have a question?
Hi. Yeah, I do have a question for Nate. A couple of months ago, I made some changes in the way my 401k is invested. My question is, will I be able to undo that change, or what is the policy? How often can we make changes to our investment allocation?
Sure, good question. So you can always make investment changes to your plan. Individual funds may have what they call a short-term trading restriction. So it depends on which fund you are in and the timing of that fund's trading restriction. It's called a round trip transaction, where you put money in, take money out, and then put money back in. That's a round trip transaction, and that's where there can be some timing restrictions. So if you're concerned that it may be, typically it's within about 90 days for that timing restriction. If it's within that 90 days, you could consider a different investment option, because you could go from fund A to fund B to fund C, and then that's not a round trip transaction. It's just a matter of when it goes back to fund A, that could be considered round trip. So each individual fund is a little bit different. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. And this is a good point of just saying, or a good time to say, the market has come back surprisingly strong. And it's important to understand that this may not continue, and that the market is not the economy and the economy is not the market, that they act and can act very differently from each other. So even though we're continuing to see unemployment rates rise, we're continuing to see protests and people out of work and changes, the economy, or the market is reacting to the amount of money, federal stimulus that's been contributed and impacting the economy at this point. And what basically it's that there's been so much efforts put into saving the economy, and then any hint that the economy is not going to be as bad as we thought it might be is really starting to spark some interest here. However, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be continued, slowdowns in the market. So just keep an eye on that. This is a very important time to just make sure as with always, that your portfolios are well diversified, and trying not to overreact to day-to-day market conditions.
Thank you very much, Nate.
Sure.
Are there any questions, further questions? I know there are some questions about the new state paid family leaves that is coming into effect. Oops.
And if anyone's not comfortable asking questions here, they can always reach out to Naomi. But this is a significant change. Rather than short-term disability, they're not going to pick up the amounts below $86,000 a year in annual income. So the states have superseded this, and it is a big change for us. So we just wanted to make sure everyone was aware.
So I will just touch base on it. When you're going through your election period, if you are in the state of Washington or you make less than $86,000, you will not see the short-term disability benefit pop up on your elections. But if you are outside of Washington State in either DC, Virginia, Maryland, or you make more than $86,000 a year, you will see the standard short-term disability benefit come up on your election screen. Everybody will see long-term disability. There's no changes to that plan. It is going to remain the same. The differences is in both the DC area and in Washington State, you will be going through those benefits. You'll be applying for the benefits through those states. if you have a disability that comes up. And there's a link website that you can go to. It's in both the books, and you just go to the website and you apply for the benefit. The states work with you on what's going on and how much leave you're going to need. They determine the type of leave that you need, but you would be applying on your own through the state. You still need to let Lucy and Joelle know if you do have a situation comes up that you do need to take some leave of absence. If you are enrolled, if you're able to enroll in the short-term disability, you will want to apply with both standard and your state through those disability plans. Standard is going to offset the amount that the state does not pay. And in most circumstances, I know at least in Washington, D.C., and I imagine probably the same would happen in Washington, or in Washington State, the same would happen in Washington, D.C. They are behind in getting those payments out. They will come, but Standard will just start issuing check. They have their system set up in place to already determine how much of a benefit you're going to get through the states, and then they will start offsetting that amount.
I should also add that this was because the short-term disability providers are requiring you to make the claims with your state if you have the option to. It's on the application, and you have to check that you've done it for them to then fulfill their side of it. So this wasn't really a Landesa choice, more so the short-term disability insurance companies are doing this, and that is what prompted it. I also want to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, Naomi, but if you have a salary change during the year, you would then, we would then look to enroll you. I believe that would be fine, right? If you somehow cross the barrier of the 86,000.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be that you don't have that for a whole year. It just means that we would then, you would then be a part of that plan, and we would deal with that.
Yes. As your salary
Thank you for
changes.
pointing. Yeah,
Go ahead, John.
thank you for pointing that out. It is not something we cut. It is something that we had to respond to because of a state mandate.
Yes. So yeah, that's the reason. The state benefit does pay first. Standard is going to pay secondary, but they offset what the state is going to pay for both Washington State and Washington, D.C. The reason why we included Virginia and Maryland into the short-term disability is because they're outside of Washington, D.C., and they don't have access to the Washington, D.C. benefit. So
they do, Naomi.
Oh, they do?
It's, yeah, if you're a Washington, D.C. employer and you're in the surrounding areas, you're good.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. Strike that. Don't listen.
Hey, Naomi, Laura and Brandy each have a hand raised.
Yes. Brandy?
Actually, that Maryland, Virginia thing was my question. So go ahead, Laura.
So I just wanted a clarification on the short-term disability offsetting what the state the state leave programs don't cover. So it offsets up to 60% of your earnings, correct?
Yes.
Not your whole. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to make a plug for anybody like trying to piece together this leave. To really talk to Lucy and Joelle, because they will help you a lot in going through it.
Yeah, Lucy and Joelle will definitely help you with those benefits, but it is something that you as an employee will need to apply for, but they will help you, they'll get you in the right direction of where you would need to go to apply for that benefit in both the states. Are there any other questions regarding the state leave and the disability?
sorry, this is Brandy again. I guess I didn't, Laura's question, like up to the 60%, like just a quick question on what exactly that means. So if you're earning more than 80, sorry, that's not the slide. So looking at the DC, because I'm in the DC area, just at the, they'll cover up to a certain amount, which I haven't done the math there, but if you go on the website, they actually have like put your salary in here and it spits out like how much you would get under the leave. And then, so if I understand, short-term disability would then cover any shortfall from the total salary that you earn if it's less, right? So, but up to 60%, that part kind of threw me off. So, yeah, I was just see if you can speak to what that means exactly.
Maybe I can quickly answer and then Naomi can follow up. Brandy, if you think about the spreadsheets we're putting together, that's essentially what we've been doing. So when we are combining the short-term disability with the state benefit up to 60% of your salary, and then we have been trying to fill the gaps with your paid time off, whether that's Landesa's maternity leave or vacation or sick time. And so it's always been that way. So if you think about, it's like short-term disability or the benefit, we'll be paying like 24 hours a week. And then you will pick up the other pieces with those other leaves that Landesa offers.
Okay, all right, thank you. Great, thanks, Lucy.
Yeah, and I think I have the answers to some of your questions, so we will be meeting again soon, so don't worry about that.
Okay, awesome. Lucy, you're the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, Lucy hit it right on the bat. Yeah, I don't think I need to add anything more to that. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
All right. Well, thank you.